Listen to our people praying, and you will understand why former slaves have done so much to help save the soul of America. To eavesdrop on these conversations between God and African Americans will expose you to a faith tradition strong enough to lift the people from the miry clay of racial oppression to the dignity and strength of divine sonship and daughterhood. It is inconceivable that divine providence could be indifferent to the moans and groans of this people, more tethered to hope than bound by chains.
Hold on, just a little while longer. Hold on, just a little while longer. Hold on, just a little while longer. Everything will be all right. Hold on, just a little while longer. Hold on, just a little while longer. Hold on, just a little while longer. Everything will be alright. Be alright. Pray on, just a little while longer. You can make it if you pray on. Pray on, just a little while longer. Pray on, just a little while longer. Everything will be alright. Be alright. The devil don't know what you're talking about when you're moan Everything, yes it will be alright. I know that everything will be alright. Be alright. If you trust the Lord, I know everything will be alright. Be
Lord, this your weak servant bow in humbleness to tell thee how I longs to die and be with thee forever in eternity. My Lord, you knows just why I moans. You knows the meaning of my groans. If on my head your justice fell, my naked soul would be in hell. Lord, you've heard my prayers before when I was laying in hell's door. You promised that you'd not forsake your children who your cross would take. But what we asked you for in faith, you would be sure to grant it grace. That you can't stand to hear us pray and from us turn your ears away. Dear Lord, you heard old Daniel pray when in the lion's den he lay. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. From out the fire you heard, you know. Jonah you heard from belly of whale. And now, my master, please don't fail to hear my prayer if when I praise right and turn my darkness into light. Lord, I am but a feeble worm. Hide me, I pray, from howling storm of cruel men who daily mock. Anchor my soul within the rock. Make haste and help, oh Lord, come quick. For For now, my weary soul is sick. Lord, you said, seek and you shall find. Come now and ease my troubled mind. You bid us ask and you would give. Please, Lord, make us free so we can live. Nearer each day, my God, to thee in faith, hope, love, and charity. Lord, you said if we'd obey your laws, you'd fight our battles, plead our cause. You said that them you joined in heart, no man should dare asunder part. But my old master curses high, sold my companion from my side. And while in agony I lay, Lord, they come and sold my child away. Oh, they left me nothing here to love, Lord, except you, dear Jesus, you above. Oh, Lord, you know why these tears I shed. Deep waters overcomes my head. My feet are stuck in marry clay. Come, Lord, and move it all away. You said 10 Christians praying right could add 1,000 devils put to flight. You said in our midst you would be if 2 or 3 would just agree. Oh, Lord, my way is very dark. Sometimes I think I hear the bark of hellhounds howling on my track. Come, my good Lord, and travel back. You clothe the lilies of the field. Oh, let thy bosom be my shield. You will not let a sparrow fall. Come to my rescue when I call. Lord, other refuge I have none. So you must save and you alone. Master, the truth is, I must declare my load is more than I can bear. Come, lady, slave your chains hard back, and I'll serve you till I die. Free me from cruel masters here, and I'll raise children in thy fear. Sometimes, Lord, when I kneel down to prayer, I feel that you far away. And sometimes I feel so far astray that you can't hear me when I pray. Sometimes, Lord, my faith grows very slack. But then your spirit draws me back. Oh, Lord, in thee I'll put my trust. Though you should turn me back to dust. Just how can anybody pray when kept in bondage night and day? How could I still believe in thee if you should turn your back on me? And now, my master, come this way. Don't let your chariot wheels delay. Amen. Amen.
Been mute and I've been scorned. Been mute and I've been scorned. Been mute and I've been scorned. Been talked about, shows you wrong.
David Walker's objective was nothing short of revolutionary. He would arouse slaves of the South into rebelling against their master. His tool would be his own pamphlet, David Walker's Appeal, a document that has been described as, for a brief and terrifying moment, the most notorious document in America. In September of 1829, he published his appeal to reach his primary audience, the enslaved men and women of the South. Walker relied on sailors and ship's officers sympathetic to the cause, who would transfer the pamphlet to southern ports. Walker even employed his used clothing business for upcoming voyages. He sewed copies of his pamphlet into the lining of sailors' clothing. Once the pamphlet reached the South, they could be distributed throughout the region. Walker also sought the aid of various contacts in the South, who were also sympathetic to the cause. The appeal made a great impression in the South, with both slaves and slaveholders. To on the other hand, created laws that forbade blacks to learn and banned the distribution of anti-slavery literature. 3 states, Georgia, Louisiana, and North Carolina, as a direct result of Walker's appeal, passed legislation making it a crime to teach slaves, or in fact, black free or slave, from being able to read and to write. Eventually, all southern states, except 3 of the border states, passed similar legislation. They offered a $2,000 reward for Walker's head and $10,000 to anyone who could bring him to the South alive. Now listen to his words.
Are we men? Oh, my brethren, are we men? Did our Creator make us to be slaves to dust and ashes like ourselves? Are they not dying worms as well as we? Have they not to make their appearance before the tribunal in heaven as well as we? Have we any other master but Jesus Christ alone? Is he not their master as well as ours? What right then have we to obey and call any other master but himself? How we could be so submissive to a gang of men whom we cannot tell are as good as ourselves or not, I never could conceive. However, this is shut up with the Lord. And we cannot precisely tell, but I declare unto you, we judge men by their works.
What nation under heaven will be able to do anything with us unless God gives us up into its hand? But Americans, I declare to you, while you keep us and our children in bondage and treat us like brutes to make us support you and your families, we cannot be your friends. You do not look for it, do you? Treat us then like men, and we will be your friends. And there is no doubt in my mind but that the whole of the past will be sunk into oblivion, and yet we, under God, will become a united and happy people. The whites say it is impossible, but remember, nothing is impossible with God.
See your declaration, Americans. Do you understand your own language? Hear your languages proclaimed to the world on July 4th, 1776. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Compare your own language above, extracted from your Declaration of Independence, with your cruelties and murders inflicted by your cruel and unmerciful fathers, and yourselves on our fathers and on us. Men who have never given your fathers or you the least provocation.
I open my mouth to the Lord and I won't turn back. I will go, I shall go, to see what the end's gonna be.
Well, who's that man all dressed in red?
To see what the end's gonna be.
Well, it looks like the people that Moses led.
To see what the end's gonna be. I'll open my mouth to the Lord and I won't turn back. I will go, I shall go, I will go, I shall go, I will go, I shall go, to see what the end's gonna be. To see what the end's gonna be. To see what the end's gonna be. To see what the end's gonna be.
1859 on the farm next to the Weaver's orphan home, up the road a few miles on the highway to Newport News. The place was called Lively's Farm. After the war, I come to Hampton to live, and here I've been ever since. My father's master was John Taylor, and my mother's master, he was named John Winder.
I can remember lots of things about them days, child. Some folks say I don't, but I do. I can remember them well, even though I was a little girl. Most of the Negroes around here then was too dumb to notice anything. But I see plenty, and I remember. This side of the river was called the Hampton side, and the other side of the river was called Camp Hampton side.
Now, when this Hampton town was burned in August 1861, they moved all the colored people over on the Hampton side in boats. Yes, they moved us all over, child, and the colored folks was living everywhere. They was living in the Tyler house and all the big houses. We stayed in Dr. Wood's hen house, present site called College Place.
Well, when the Yankees come, my father was working for Mr. Frank Lee in Newport News on a grain elevator. Mr. Lee told him to come on to Hampton and stay because he had to go to war. At that time, Newport News wasn't nothing but country. Hell's Half-Acre and Buckfield was just 3 or 4 old shacks. They ain't started building Newport News till about 1881. The Yankees never fought right here, but quite far away. They went out of here one night up the back river road and had an awful battle at Bethel. Did I see any generals? Did I see any generals? Sure. I seen Grant and Butler all the time. Yes, sir. I seen Lincoln and I shook hands with him. My mother could go most anywhere in the lines because she was a cook, and I used to go with her. That's how come I seen so many of those big men. I can remember very clearly when Richmond fell, and can remember the Battle of Merrimack and the Mountain. Took place twixt here and Newport News. We was all standing on the shore watching. I remember my mother, she held me up in her arms so that I could see. Twixt awful noise them guns was making. My mother said lots of men got killed.
Now, schools around Hampton first started in the old brick mill on the Institute grounds and in the Tyler house. Next came the Butler Schoolhouse with Miss Main as the teacher. I went there. Then I went to the Lincoln School, which was taught by Miss Guy. I started school when I was just 5 years old. My mother was always anxious to send me to school. She used to tell me to try to be like Miss Mary Ann, Mrs. Daughter, and all the other respectable white folks' girls. When Lincoln was shot, every house was whitewashed and had a black crepe hung over the door. All the yards was cleaned up. This was the official military mourning order. Then we lived on Broad Street, now called Wine Street.
After Lincoln, Johnson went in office. Things sure changed then. Johnson get the rebels land back to them and give them all their privileges, what they had for the war. One day, a committee of 3 men came around. 'Twas Jeff Sinclair, he was a big red rebel. Reverend Taylor, he was the first Negro preacher of the First Baptist Church. Reverend Taylor, he was the most powerful colored man in town, and an officer too. These men went to all the Negroes' houses. They came to my house too, and made the people sign a paper saying their property wasn't theirs. They couldn't buy it, so they had to pay $10 a year rent for living on their own land. Reverend Taylor was there to help them make the folks sign. What he said to a Negro was law.
In the beginning was the beat. And the beat was the rhythm of God. And the rhythm of God is the harmony of humanity. And where there is harmony, there is peace. Peace.
We
we are all that. And across the history of this vast continent of countries, the drum speaks.
We are the drum. We are the drum. Africa to America. We are the drum. We are the drum. We are the drum. Africa to America. We are the drum. Teach.
We are the drum, taken from the mother and shackled, beat down in the new Babylon called America, where chaos, confusion, and hatred reign supreme. But the rhythm, oh, the rhythm plants the seeds of freedom, so we overcome with the rhythm. The drum speaks.
The rhythm in our heart is our freedom.
Will you give up your rhythm?
No. The rhythm in our heart is our freedom.
Let go of the beat.
No. The rhythm in our heart is our freedom.
Come on, celebrate soul.
No. The rhythm in our heart is our freedom.
Can you stop playing your drum? We are the drum. In the beginning was the beat of the drum, which began in the beginning to be freedom. The rhythm plants the seed of freedom. Freedom. Oh, freedom. I'm talking about freedom, y'all. So we overcome with the rhythm. The drum speaks. You see, the rhythm in our heart is our freedom. Yes.
Amen.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my God and be free. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. I'll go home to my God and be free.
Amen. Amen. Galatians 5:1 says, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery."
Lord, why did you make me black? Why did you make me someone the world wants to hold back? Black is the color of dirty clothes, the color of grimy hands and feet. Black is the color of darkness, the color of tired, beaten streets. Lord, why did you give me thick lips, a broad nose, and kinky hair? Why did you make me someone who receives that hatred stare? How come my bone structure is so thick, my hips and cheeks so high? Why are my eyes brown and not the color of daylight sky? Why do people think I'm useless? How come I feel so used? Why do people see my skin and think that I should be abused? My Lord, I just don't understand. What is it about my skin? Why don't you just redo creation and make everyone the same?
Why did I make you black? Why did I make you black? Get off your knees and look around. Tell me, what do you see? I didn't make you the image of darkness. I made you the image of me. I made you the color of coal from which beautiful diamonds are formed. I made you the color of oil, gold that keeps people warm. I made you from the rich, dark earth that can grow the food you need. Your color is the same as a black stallion, a majestic animal is he. I didn't make you the image of darkness. I made you the image of me. All the colors of the heavenly rainbow can be found throughout every nation. But when all those colors were blended, you became my greatest creation. Your hair is the texture of lamb's wool. Such a humble creature is he. I am the shepherd who watches over them. I am the one who watches over thee. You are the color of the midnight sky. I put the star glitter in your eyes. There is a smile behind your pain. That is why your cheeks are so high. You are the color of dark clouds formed when I send my strongest weather. I made your lips full so when you kiss the one you love, they will remember. Your stature is strong, your bone structure thick to withstand the burdens of time. The reflection you see in the mirror, the image that looks back at you, is mine.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, alone away from home, alone away from home.
I've known rivers. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. Langston Hughes, the Negro, speaks of rivers. Langston Hughes was born in Joplin, Missouri on February 1st, 1902, to Carrie Langston Hughes and James Hughes. Poet and writer, Langston Hughes was famous for his portrayal of Black American life in his poems, stories, autobiographies, and histories. Hughes spent much of his childhood in the company of his grandmother in Lawrence, Kansas, who filled his imagination with many stories. Langston's poem, The Negro Speaks of Rivers, from which I quoted in the beginning of this introduction, was written the summer after he graduated from high school in Cleveland, Ohio. Langston died in 1967. Among his most known works are The Weary Blues, a 1926 collection of poetry, The Ways of White Folks, a 1934 collection of short stories, The Big Sea, an autobiography of his early life published in 1940, the 1956 A Pictorial History of the Negro in America. As you will see from this next piece, Mother to Son, his gift of expressing thoughts and words is his legacy. Please listen as Mr. Hughes speaks not only to your heart, but to your soul as well.
Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it and splinters and boards torn up and places with no carpet on the floor. Bare. But all the time I've been climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back. Don't you sit down on the steps because you find it's kind of hard. Don't you fall now. Fire's still going, honey. I still climbing. And life for me, it ain't been no crystal stair.
Well, if it's slavery time you wants to know about, I feared I can't tell you much. I won't no bigger than that when the surrender was. I was just 4 or 5 years old, they tell me. So I ain't remembered much about slavery. Now, when it comes to science, I can tell you something. Ain't never gonna forget her, because my grandma tell me all about her. In them days, the old folks learned the chillin' something. But now, ain't nobody learn the chillin' because they don't know nothing they said. The old folks learned us all a child ought to know. I like you, and I was gonna tell you this. If you sprinkle a little salt all around the house, nothing can bother you. The spirits can't get to you.
If you drop a dish rag on the floor, a hungry person will enter the house before the close of day. If your nose itch, somebody coming to your house. If it's the right side itches, the visitor will be a man. If it's the left side that itches, the visitor gonna be a woman.
Now, when the right ear burns, someone talking good about you. But when that left ear burns, someone sure enough talking bad about you. If a black cat crosses your path going to the right, it's sure enough a sign of good luck. But if that black cat crosses your path going to the left, it's a sign of bad luck.
If a girl walks around with one shoe off and one shoe on, she'll stay single as many years as the number of steps she's taken. If a dog turns on his back and howls, 'tis a sure sign of death.
Now, if a man is the first to enter your house on New Year's Day, good luck with all of that house the entire year. Now, if you take a dime when the moon first rises, hold it up to the moon, thank God, kiss it and put it in your pocket, you're going to get a piece of money before the end of the day. Now, I knows that will work because I done it.
Yes, child. The old folks learn us all. A child ought to know.
Swing low,
Sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Well, children, where there's so much racket, there must be something out of kilter. I think that twisted Negroes of the South and the women of the North all talking about rights. The white man gonna be in a fix pretty soon. But what's all this here talking about? That man over there says that women needs to be helped into carriages and to be lifted over ditches and to have the best place everywhere. Ain't nobody help me in the carriages or lift me over mud puddles or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arms. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and can't no man had me. I could eat as much and work as much as a man and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen them most all sold off to slavery. And when I cried out with my woman. And then they talk about this thing in the head. What's this they call it?
Intellect.
Intellect. That's it, honey. What's that got to do with women's rights or Negroes' rights? If my cup won't hold but a pint and yours holds a quart, wouldn't you be mean not to let me have my little half measure full? And then that man right there, he says that women can't have as much rights as men because Christ wasn't a woman. Where'd your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? Christ came from God and woman. Man ain't had nothing to do with him. If the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn this world upside down, then these women here ought to be able to turn it right side up and set it down again. And now they's asking to do it. The men better let them. I'm obliged to you for hearing me. And now, old Sojourner Truth ain't got nothing more to say.
This I recall to my mind, therefore I have hope. It is because of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions never ever fail. As a matter of fact, they are new every morning. Great is the Lord's faithfulness. Summer and winter, the springtime and the harvest, the sun, the moon, the stars, all of them in their courses above, they join with all nature in manifold witness to God's great faithfulness, to his mercy, and to his love. And that's why I sing, great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercy I see. All I have needed, thy hands have provided. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, to me.
I will extol you, O Lord, for you have lifted me up and have not let my enemies rejoice over me. O Lord, my God, I cried to you for help and you healed me. O Lord, you have brought up my soul from Sheol. You have kept me alive that I would not go down to the pit. Sing praise to the Lord, you his godly ones, and give thanks to his holy name. For his anger is but for a moment, but his favor is for a lifetime. Weeping may endure for the night, but a shout of joy always comes in the morning.
Now as for me, I said in my prosperity, I will never ever be moved. O Lord, by your favor, you have made my mountain to stand strong. brought me over. For every trial, Lord, that you've seen me through. For every blessing, I got to say hallelujah. Lord, it's for all of this that I give you the praise.
I've got so much to thank God for. So many wonderful blessings and so
Proverbs.
Proverbs. Don't talk so much. You keep putting your foot in your mouth. Be sensible and turn off the flow.
The lazy fellow is full of excuses. I can't go to work, he says. If I go outside, I may meet a lion in the street and be killed.
Don't fail to correct your children. Discipline won't hurt them. They won't die if you use a stick on them. Punishment will keep them out of hell.
A worthy wife is her husband's joy and crown. The other corrodes his strength and tears everything he does down.
Putting confidence in an unreliable man is like chewing on a sore tooth or trying to run on a broken foot.
Honor doesn't go with fools any more than snow with summertime or rain with harvest time.
Keep your mouth closed and you'll stay out of trouble.
In the mouth of a fool, a proverb becomes as useless as a paralyzed leg.
It is better to live in the corner of an attic than with a crabby woman in a lovely home.
Some men are so lazy, they won't even feed themselves.
To learn, you must want to be taught. To refuse reproof is stupid.
Better to live in the desert than with a quarrelsome, complaining woman.
The man of a few words and settled mind is wise. Therefore, even a fool is thought to be wise when he is silent. It pays him to keep his mouth shut.
A rebellious son is a calamity to his father, and a nagging wife annoys like constant dripping.
Come on.
When a good man speaks, he is worth listening to. But the words of a fool are a dime a dozen.
A wise man is cautious and avoids danger. A fool plunges ahead with great confidence.
The wise man is glad to be instructed, but a self-sufficient fool will fall flat on his face.
A father can give his sons homes and riches,
Come on, Jeff.
but only the Lord can give them understanding wives.
That's right.
Any story sounds true until someone tells the other side and sets the record straight.
When a man is trying to please God, God makes even his worst enemies to be at peace with him.
It is better to eat soup with someone you love than steak with someone you hate.
Being kidnapped and held for ransom never ever worries a poor man.
It is better to get your hands dirty and eat than to be too proud to work and starve.
If you are looking for advice, stay away from fools.
Since the Lord is directing our steps, why not try to understand everything that happens along the way?
Don't tell your secrets to a gossip unless you want them broadcast to the world.
We may toss the coin, but we all know that it's the Lord that controls the decision.
Discipline your son early in his years while there is still hope. If you don't, you will ruin his life.
A relaxed attitude lengthens a man's life. Jealousy just rots it away.
The man who strays away from common sense will end up dead.
A lazy man sleeps soundly and goes hungry.
There is one thing worse than a fool.
What is it?
That's a man who is conceited.
Oh, yes.
Yanking a dog's ears is no more foolish than interfering in an argument that isn't any of your business.
A constant dripping on a rainy day and a cranky woman are much alike. You can no more stop her complaints than you can stop the wind or hold on to anything with oil slick hands.
The lazy man won't go out and work. There might be a lion outside, he says, so he sticks to his bed like a door to his hinges. He is even too tired to lift his food from his dish to his mouth. Yet, in his own opinion, he is wiser than 7 wise men.
A quarrelsome man starts fight as easily as a match that's fired to paper.
Wounds from a friend are better than kisses from an enemy.
Don't praise yourself. You let others do that.
Scolding and spanking a child helps him to learn. Left to himself, he'll bring shame to his mother.
Hard work brings prosperity. Playing around brings poverty.
It's in the word, Proverbs.
Good evening. My name is Thomas Darcy. Back in 1932, I was a 32-year-old and a fairly new husband. My wife Nettie and I were living in a little apartment on Chicago's south side. One hot August afternoon, I had to go to St. Louis, where I was to be a featured soloist at a large revival meeting. I didn't want to go. Nettie was in her last month of pregnancy with our first child, but all the people were expecting me in St. Louis. I kissed Nettie goodbye and rushed downstairs to my Model A, and in the fresh Lake Michigan breeze, drove out of Chicago on Route 66. However, outside of the city, I discovered in my anxiety at leaving, I had forgotten my music case. I turned around and headed back. I found Nettie sleeping peacefully. I hesitated by her bed. Something was strongly telling me to stay, but eager to get on my way and not wanting to disturb Nettie, I shook off the feeling and quietly slipped out of the room with my music. The next night, in the steaming St. Louis heat, the crowd called on me again and again to sing. When I finally sat down, a messenger boy ran up to me with a Western Union telegram. I ripped open the envelope, pasted on the yellow sheet was the words, "Your wife just died." People were happily singing and clapping around me, but I could hardly keep from crying out. I rushed to the phone and called home, and all I could hear on the other end was, "Nettie is dead. Nettie is dead." When I got back, I learned that Nettie had given birth to a boy. I swung between grief and joy. Yet that night, the baby died. I buried Nettie and our little boy together in the same casket, and I just fell apart. For days, I closeted myself. I felt that God had done me an injustice. I didn't want to serve him anymore, write gospel songs. I just wanted to go back to that jazz world I once knew so well. But then, as I sit alone in that dark apartment, those first sad days, I thought back to that afternoon when I was going to St. Louis. Something kept telling me to stay with Nettie. Was that something God? Oh, if I'd paid more attention, I could have been there when Nettie died. From that moment on, I vowed to listen more closely to him. But still, I was lost in grief. Everyone was kind to me, especially a friend, Professor Fry, who seemed to know what I needed. On the following Saturday afternoon, he took me to a neighborhood music school. It was quiet. The late evening sun crept through the curtain windows. I sit down at the piano and my hands begin to browse over the keys. Something happened to me then. I felt at peace. I felt as though I could reach out and touch God. I found myself playing a melody. Once in my head, they just seemed to fall into place. Precious Lord, take my hand Lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me on. As the Lord gave me these words and melody, He also healed my spirit. I learned that when we are in our deepest grief, when we are farthest apart from God, this is when He is closest, and when we are most open to His restoring power. And so, I go on living for God willingly and joyfully until that day when He comes to take me home and gently leads me on.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. Oh, Lord, I'm tired. Lord, I'm so very weak. And through the storm, through the night, lead me on to that light. Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead your child home.
Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of His might. Put on the whole armor of God so that you will be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the powers, against the world's forces of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the full armor of God, so that you will be able to resist in the evil day. And having done everything to stand, stand firm.
Stand firm, therefore, having girded your loins with truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. In addition to all, taking up the shield of faith, with which you will be able to extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. I admonish you, even as the psalmist, after you've done all you can, you just stand.
Family, friends, allies, foes, believers, doubters, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today a success of yet another life-changing endeavor. I stand before you as a testimonial memorial of perseverance, dedication, and devotion. I stand triumphant over the raging rivers of life, beaten and bullied by the waves of failure, yet I stand. Often slammed against the rocks of slander on the shores of envy, but kept on track by the encouraging voice of the Most High God.
Due to my gender and skin tone, I have been presumed incompetent by the unrelenting gestures of America. But led by the spirits of my ancestral predecessors, I have escaped the traps of that stereotypical predestined path. And so I stand as an example and not as a statistic.
My recent accomplishments are but a fragment of the test of times. There will come a day again when I am faced with depleted self-confidence. Again, I will be reclined in the path of adversity. Another time will come when I am exhausted by the blows of injustice. I will have to endure the system of design for my annihilation again and again. And I will again be standing in the fires of slander and ridicule.
Oh, but when the smoke clears, I will be seen standing with my feet planted firmly against the earth's crust and knees strengthened by my will to go on, my head lifted high to receive further guidance from God Almighty. I will be seen standing.
I stand as a product of the kings and queens of great Africa. I stand for the unyielding inspiration of little black girls and little black boys. I stand in the doorway, keeping the doors of opportunity from closing. I stand for every man and every woman who said it couldn't be done. I stand as an exception to the American rule.
I stand for the struggle endured by my slave ancestors. I stand as my sister and brother's keeper. I stand as a voice for the braided heads and sagging pants of the ghettos. I stand as the potential of my incarcerated black men and black women.
For equality, I stand.
For justice, I stand.
For righteousness, I stand.
For truth, I stand.
In the name of the Heavenly Father, I stand.
Victoriously, I stand.
To whom much is given, much is required. College grads can't sit on the merits of a degree without a walk in the neighborhood, a talk with brown, black, bright, inquiring eyes. Tell little brown girls that they can fly planes and run a Fortune 500. If only they push harder, stay later, and arrive with the first glare of the beating sun. Tell little black boys that basketball and hip-hop are not the only paths to big, long cars and deep green lawns. You drive a shiny Lexus with tags that say Fortina, but they should say, I'm blessed. It passed through the outskirts of the street corners where little boys and little girls play outside of run-down buildings and with absent fathers and mothers spaced out on crack. At night, you retire to sprawling black meccas, watch the 10 o'clock news. You see young boys with covered heads, led away in handcuffs. You shake your heads. Make remarks about more jails and more death. You turn off your Tiffany lamps, check your age protector systems, snuggle in designer sheets, and fall into oblivious dreams. To whom much is given, much is required.
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together.
This is our hope. This is the faith with which we return to the South. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that one day we will be free.
This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim pride, from every mountainside, let freedom bring.
And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghanies of Pennsylvania.
Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous peaks of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia.
Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain, Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and mole-side of Mississippi. From every mountainside, let freedom ring.
When we let freedom ring, when we let it ring from every valley and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of that old Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
A very humorous and revealing story is told by a group of white people who were fed up with African Americans. So they joined together and wished themselves away. They passed through a deep, dark tunnel and emerged in a sort of a twilight zone where there's an America without black people. At first, these white people breathed a sigh of relief. At last, they said, no more crime, drugs, violence, and welfare. All the blacks have gone. Then suddenly, reality sets in. The new America is not America at all, only a barren wasteland.
There are very few crops that have flourished because this nation was built on a slave-supported system.
There are no cities with tall skyscrapers because Alexander Mills, a black man, invented the elevator, and without it, one finds difficulty reaching high floors.
There are few, if any, cars because Richard Spikes, a black man, invented the automatic gear shift. Joseph Gamble, also black, invented the supercharged system for internal combustion engines. And Garrett A. Morgan invented the traffic signs.
Furthermore, one could not use the rapid transit system because its forerunner was the electric trolley, which was invented by another black man, Albert R. Robinson.
Even if there were streets on which cars and a rapid transit system could operate, they were cluttered with paper because an African American, Charles Brooks, invented the street sweeper.
There were few, if any, newspapers, magazines, and books because John Love invented the pencil sharpener. William Purvis invented the fountain pen. Lee Burridge invented the typewriting machine. And W.L. Lovett invented the advanced printing press. They were all, you guessed it, black.
Even if Americans could write their letters, articles, and books, they would not have been transported by mail because William Barry invented the posting and canceling machine. William Purvis invented the hand stamp, and Philip Downey invented the letter drop.
Their lawns were all brown and wilted because Joseph Smith invented the lawn sprinkler and John Burr invented the lawn mower.
When they entered their homes, they found them to be poorly ventilated and poorly heated. You see, Frederick Jones invented the air conditioner and Alice Parker the heating furnace. Their homes were also dim because Lewis Latimer, another black man, invented the electric lamp. Michael Harvey invented the lantern, and Granville T. Woods invented the automatic cutoff switch. Their homes were also filthy because Thomas W. Stewart invented the mop and Lloyd P. Ray the dustpan.
Their children met them at the door, barefooted, shabby, motley, and unkempt. But what could one expect? Jan E. Matzelinger invented the shoe-lasting machine. Walter Sammons invented the comb. Sarah Boone invented the ironing board. And George T. Salmon invented the clothes dryer.
Finally, they were resigned to at least have dinner amidst all of this turmoil. But here again, the food had spoiled because another black man, John Standard, invented the refrigerator.
Now, isn't that something? What would this world be like without the contributions of black folks? Black history includes more than just slavery. Thank God for black people.
Christian black man, the truth of the matter is, there is nothing more beautiful than a Christian black man.
Whether 5'2" or 6'7", yellow fabulous or chocolate heaven, there is nothing more beautiful than a Christian black man.
Long and lean with deep brown eyes, wavy hair or dreads with Jesus on his mind. There is nothing more beautiful than a Christian black man.
Bald head with gold teeth, cornrows or fade, a little thick, a little thin, the choicest to be made. There is nothing more beautiful than a Christian black man.
Scholarly or not, Wall Street or hip-hop, I'll sing your praises to the mountaintop. Head of the home, provider and lover, obedient son and loving brother. There's nothing more beautiful than a Christian black man.
A mighty protector you've proven to be, sacrificing your life to keep me free. Working for crumbs when the table is bare. There is nothing more beautiful than a Christian black man.
Holding my hand when fear emerges, remaining faithful, suppressing your urges. Proving your strength by turning the other cheek, having high hopes when the situation is bleak. There is nothing more beautiful than a Christian black man.
Treating me like the queen I was born to be, never disrespecting,
Dishonoring,
or disgracing me.
giving me credit when it is due.
oh black man, how I honor you. There is nothing more beautiful than a Christian black man.
Everybody at the backyard picnic is talking about little Brenda's hair. It's the nappiest, the curliest, and the twistiest hair in the whole family. While it seems that the family is poking fun at Brenda's hair, in fact, they are actually admiring it by uncovering its meaning, its strength, its Africanness. We ask that you listen now to the traditional call and response reading of nappy hair, which celebrates the beauty of one of God's only perfect circles in nature.
Now, Uncle Mordecai told this story at the backyard picnic. Uncle Mordecai told it, the folks joined in between the lines, little Jimmy takes it, and here it is.
Brenda, you sure do got some nappy hair on your head, don't you?
Well,
It's your hair, Brenda. Take the cake
yep,
and come back and get the plate.
don't you know?
It ain't easy to come out that kind of hair.
No, it ain't.
You just can't blame Africa. It's willful.
That's what it is.
Them some willful, intentional naps all over your head.
Sure enough.
Your head intended to be nappy.
Indeed, indeed.
I mean, combing your hair
Yep,
is like scratching through the New Mexico desert in brocades in the heat of the summer.
that's the way.
It's like crunching through the snow.
Yep.
About a foot, 2 feet at least,
Uh-huh.
with 2 inches of crust on top.
I can hear it.
You know how it sounds when you crunching through the snow like that?
I can hear it.
That's what it sounds like when she's combing her hair in the morning.
Brother, you ought to be ashamed.
Ashamed? I'm not ashamed, I'm proud. She's the only one in her school that knows how to talk right.
Ain't she something?
It rose among 1,000 thorns.
I know
Them old hard heads think they can talk English.
it. Yep,
But this child talks King's English.
I hear her.
Talks Queen's English too.
She can do it.
But Lord, she got some nappy hair on her head.
Now, why you got to come back to that?
And I'm gonna tell you how she came up with all that nappy hair.
Brother, will you stop?
Her hair was an act of God.
Lord, listen to him now.
An act of God that came straight through Africa.
Well,
You see, the angels went up to God.
uh-oh, here it goes.
Angels walk up to God and try to talk him out of it.
Will you listen to this?
Yep, they say, Lord, Lord, Lord.
Well,
Why you gotta be so mean and willful thinking about giving that nappy hair to that innocent little girl?
innocent.
Sweet little girl like that, and you napping her hair up like you ain't got good sense.
That's what they said.
Napping her hair 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 complete circles per inch.
Brother,
I'm talking about 8 circles per inch of hair.
please.
The angels were trying to talk him out of it,
Yep,
but God wanted himself some nappy hair from the face of the earth.
that's what it was.
So God turned himself around, looked them angels square in the face,
Well,
and God said, get out of my way.
yep,
He said, this is my world.
it's the truth.
This is my world, and this child,
Well,
this sweet little brown baby girl child,
we hear you.
she's going to have the nappiest hair in the world.
That's what he said.
And when Brenda was born,
We remember.
we all looked down in her cradle.
What did y'all see?
I'll tell you, we laughed and shouted because she had the kinkiest, the nappiest, the frizziest, the most squeezed And the Lord?
Well,
The Lord in heaven.
what you say?
The Lord who brought the Israelites out of Egypt.
Yes, he did.
He looked down at this cute little brown baby girl.
He looked at her.
He looked down and he said, well done.
Yep.
He said, I got me one.
That's what he said.
One Napa has the only perfect circle in nature.
Well,
I got me a cute little brown baby girl.
keep talking.
I got me at long last this cute little brown baby girl.
Well,
And she got the nappiest hair in the world.
ain't that the truth? What black people need to do now, we need to not only aspire to Harvard, but also good schools like Albany State University, Clark Atlanta University, Howard University, Hampton University, and Tougaloo, and also Thomas Nelson Community College. They're all still open.
What black people need to do now is stop calling our 2-year-old kids smart and cute just because they know the words to the nasty songs on the videos.
What black people need to do now is stop going on job interviews dressed like you're going to a party.
What black people need to do now, stop trying to win money on those survival type game shows on TV. Just like in the movies, we always the first ones to get voted off. Get real, y'all.
What black people need to do now, we need to get our bank accounts and credit cards out of the red, instead of walking around with all our teeth covered in gold, especially if you're still riding the bus and living at your mama's house.
What black people need to do now, you need to stop getting mad when your boss tells you to get off the phone at work and you've been on a 2-hour personal phone call. Why you don't get mad at that?
What black people need to do now, need to learn to dab just a little cologne and not the whole bottle.
What black people need to do now, stop wearing capri pants when your ankles look like you've been kicking white flour.
What black people need to do now, you need to turn the volume on your TVs and CD players down so you can stop walking around talking loud all the time.
What the black people need to do now, stop spending $40 and $50 million to build a church, and you walk outside on the same street stepping over home for homeless people. Can I get a witness?
Yes.
Where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is God. And where there is God, there is no need.
Write your plans in pencil, then give God the eraser.
That's what black people need to do now.
There is no greater love.
knowledge on the lips of few. I am understanding which the diligent pursue. I am the way which is often rejected. I am the hedge of those protected. I am your strength in times of adversity. I am your peace in the midst of tragedy. I am the crooked made straight. I am the reward of those who wait. I am shelter in your pouring down rain. I am he who is able to keep you sane. I am the hand on the surgeon's knife. I am the very hand that saved your life. I am the wind that encompasses your soul. I am the only one who can make you whole. I am the river flowing towards your drought. I am he who breaks the shackles with a shout. I am the book of Genesis through Revelations. I am the only hope of your salvation. I am the first and I am the last. I am the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, all in one cast. Who am I? I will tell you even as I have told Moses. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am.
Then Moses said to God, Behold, I am going to the sons of Israel, and I will say to them, The God of your fathers hath sent me to you. Now they may say to me, What is his name? What shall I say to them? God said to Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, I am has sent me to you. God, furthermore, said to Moses, Thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial name to all generations. This truth resounds in Revelation 1 and 8, as John the Revelator echoes these words, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is and which was and which is to come. I am the Almighty. And so it is today. We recognize El Elyon, the Most High God, the great I am, for he is God alone.
How many of you know that God really is an awesome God? No one else can compare to him. God loves us so much. He's brought us through so many wonderful things over the years before I was a child. Before I was a child, so many people died. So many people lived their life. Lived the life for Christ. While they were working on the railroad tracks, in the cotton fields, while they were working on the peanut farms and just working out in the field and working in the homes, and they were still giving God the praise and God the glory because they were acknowledging him for what he was bringing them through. Sometimes you go through some things in your life, hard times. But when he brings you out, it's good times. It's good times. Places we couldn't go, we can now go. People we couldn't fellowship with, we can now love. Okay? Because he is God. He alone. Because of him. Not because of us. Because if he left it upon us, we'd be damned. Amen. Self-destructing. Amen. Amen. There's no question of your greatness. No searching of your power. Oh, the wonders of your only. How many of you know that he's God alone? And he don't need nobody else. Not me, not you. He's God alone. You are God alone. You alone are God. For you alone are God. Do y'all know that? Do you recognize that? Do you understand that? To the King. Now to the King. Eternal. Immortal. Invisible.
since I'm Thomas Nelson, you know, I just wanted to say thank you guys for coming. Thank these people something else, aren't they? I can't sing, so I just let them sing and listen to them. They do it just like you. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.